Director of the Brotherhood, joins us. Conny, thanks so much for your time. Your latest youth unemployment monitor makes for quite grim reading. We're talking about youth unemployment languishing at levels that we saw after the global financial crisis.
That's right, Kieran. It's really disturbing that after 3 decades of economic prosperity, those young people coming of age now, entering the job market, those between 15 and 24, are facing a 12% unemployment rate compared to 9% just a year after the GFC.
What do you think is causing that?
Well, there's lots of changes that we're experiencing in our labour market, and so we've moved from manufacturing to a services labour market. We've seen a lot of changes with the gig economy. There's lots of traditional entry-level and low-skilled jobs that are disappearing. And so what we're needing to do is really look at what are the jobs of the future and how do we help especially those disadvantaged young people find their first job and find their way into the labour market so that they can build economic prosperity. I think one of the most disappointing things about this report is that we now know that of the 365,000 young people seeking a job, almost 1 in 5 have now been unemployed for over a year. And 10 years ago, that figure was just 1 in 10. So it's a lot of young people who are really struggling to survive if they don't have family support on very low levels of youth allowance and New Start, and really struggling to find that first opportunity to get employed.
How much is it down to, when one individual gets a job, it's obviously good for their self-esteem, and then it's self-fulfilling in that extent because they know they've done it, they've showed up for work, they've paid bills and so on. How important is it just to get the first step?
That's absolutely critical. You know, we all remember leaving school and really not having an idea what the world of work was like, and so that first step is absolutely critical. And you know, the flip side of not being able to meet those aspirations and to be one of the left behinds is that it really erodes your confidence. So after a year of putting in applications, of struggling, it really just makes it very hard for you to continue to believe in yourself. And we're seeing all kinds of consequences because of that. You know, in some states, that youth unemployment rate is over 14%. Tasmania, Western Australia, Queensland, South Australia. That's a lot of young people who really don't know when and how they're going to make that first step into independence.
So what can be done to address this? Does this require intervention from the government, or do you think it's more of a social response?
I think it needs all of us to work together to say, how do we create those opportunities for our young people today, these children of prosperity, so that they can have economic security in the future? And we recommend 2 things. One is the vocational education and training system is not on track to deliver young people the kinds of skills they need to be suitable for the jobs of the future. We know there's a lot of work coming up in the caring economy, whether that's aged care, disability, education, integration support, childcare services. There's a lot more support needed with ICT in the future. And there's also still the traditional employment areas of electricians and plumbers, but they obviously need new skills because those areas are also using much more technology into the future. So we need to step up our vocational education and training system. We need to work with local communities and local businesses to identify what are the opportunities of the future and what are the skills that business needs. We also need to be looking at how we support young people into work. So we recommend that the Transitions to Work program, which is federally funded, is expanded. Sending young people to a generalist employment service just doesn't work, whereas if you give them specialist support, working with them and with the employers, we find there's great success in giving them that first step on the ladder.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, so important to get that underway. Conny Lenneberg, great to see you. Stay in touch, and we look forward to maintaining contact with you on this Youth Unemployment Monitor, such worthy work by the Brotherhood of St Laurence.